Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are looking at, well, a really powerful single source. The actual transcribed interrogation of Dolores Claiborne. She's a woman from Little Tall Island, Maine.
Yeah, and this dive, it's really into a life that's just steeped in cruelty, but also survival.
It really is.
And what makes this testimony just grab you right away is how Dolores redirects things. So the police bring her in about the death of her employer, this wealthy woman, Vera Donovan.
Right, which just happened.
Exactly. But Dolores, she doesn't defend herself. She barely even acknowledges why she's there at first. She just cuts right past it.
And confesses to something else entirely.
Completely. She confesses to murdering her husband, Joe St. George, nearly 30 years earlier.
30 years. Wow.
On the day of a total solar eclipse, no less. July 20th, 1963.
So it's this really defiant opening. She's taking control of the narrative from the jump.
Absolutely. And our mission here really is to unpack that confession. We need to look at her two huge defining relationships, the awful abuse from her husband, Joe, and then this relentless grinding service she gave to Vera.
And try to understand the connections, the consequences, and, yeah, the terrible price she paid for the choices she made.
And you hear her voice immediately, that specific island way of talking. She's not scared of the police at all.
No formality?
None. She calls the cops, Andy Bissett and Frank Priel, by their first names. Even the stenographer, Nancy Bannister. It's like she's saying, look, we all know each other here. Let's skip the nonsense. I'll tell you the real story.
She's running the show, even while confessing to murder.
Exactly.
Okay, let's start where she starts then, with that first life, the one dominated by Joe St. George. When she looks back at why she even married him, back in, what, 1945, the reason is, well, it's thin. Painfully thin.
It really is, and it speaks volumes, doesn't it? About, well, the limited options for women then, and just that kind of emotional emptiness. She was only 18, looking for what she called the love part. And the only specific memory of attraction she offers up is seeing Joe's smooth forehead in study hall during World War II.
His forehead. That's it.
That's what she says. She dreamt of touching it, and when she finally did, she says that was, quote, all the love part I was able to remember.
Huh. So it suggests the connection wasn't really deep, more like imagined.
Pretty much. Based on this imagined warmth, not any real affection.
And any warmth there might have been, imagined or not, it certainly didn't last. She talks about going into the marriage with this really horrifying, ingrained idea that physical abuse was kind of normal.
Yeah, she called it home correction. She learned it, she says, watching her own father, how he treated her mother.
How so?
Pushing her down, even hitting her with wet sailcloth.
Wet sailcloth, good grief.
So this acceptance, this inherited idea, it's really key to understanding why she might have put up with Joe's violence at first. She kind of expected men to herd women back onto the path if they stepped off it.
But Joe's violence was different somehow. It broke that pattern for her.
It did, because she realized something crucial. Her father, she says, never used his fists, but Joe did. And more than that, Joe was often cold sober when he hit her.
So it wasn't drunken rage she could excuse.
Exactly. That excuse just evaporated. It was calculated.
And she describes one time being hit with a piece of wood, rock maple.
A chunk of rock maple stove length, yeah, hit her right in the small of the back, so hard she thought her kidneys would bust loose. That sounds like it was that turning point, a really deep trauma.
You could see why, and that led to her fighting back.
It did. She reached her absolute limit. This was around 1960, maybe 61. She waited till he was dozing off, and she hit him in the face with a cream pitcher. Hit him until it broke.
Whoa.
And then she followed that up by showing him a short-handled hatchet, making it crystal clear she was done being his punching bag, that she would escalate if needed.
And did that stop him hitting her any?
According to Dolores, yes. That specific incident ended the physical violence towards her, but the abuse didn't stop. It just changed shape.
How so? What happened next?
It shifted away from her body towards her resources, and critically, towards their children.
Okay, so what was the first big betrayal after the hitting stopped?
The money, the financial betrayal. Dolores had scraped and saved nearly $3,000, which was a lot of money then, especially for them.
Right.
It was for the kids' college accounts, saved over years. And Joe, he just went down to the bank in Jonesport, the coastal northern, lied and said the passbooks were lost, and closed the accounts, took every cent.
Oh, that's just devastating.
Yeah.
rubbing their kids' futures like that.
A total violation of trust. Absolutely.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But in her confession, Dolores says even that wasn't what finally made her decide to kill him. There was something worse.
Yeah, this is the core of it, the absolute center. She could somehow rationalize the hitting, maybe even the theft eventually. But he crossed a line with their daughter, Selena.
An unbreakable line.
An unbreakable line. And this part, you really have to absorb the weight of it. Dolores found out Joe was molesting Selena, sexually abusing her.
Oh, God.
And not just that, he was psychologically manipulating her too. Using Dolores' own past violence, that cream pitcher, the hatchet threat, he used that against Selena to scare her into silence.
He weaponized the mother's self-defense against the daughter. That's just monstrous.
It is. Dolores noticed Selena changing, wearing baggy clothes, becoming withdrawn, terrified of her father getting her into his special places.
And when did Dolores find out the truth?
She finally got it out of Selena on the ferry off the island, and hearing that, seeing how Joe was twisting things to break her daughter, that's when Dolores knew.
Knew she had to act.
Knew she had to act. Selena was already, in Dolores' words, half crazy. She saw that if Joe continued, Selena would be destroyed for life. Moving away wasn't enough. The hold was too strong.
She saw her kids being damaged?
Right. Selena terrified. Her son, Joe Jr., filled with hate for his father. And the youngest, little Pete, starting to imitate Joe. That's when she says her inside eye just told her Joe's days were numbered.
Okay. So that brings us to the act itself, the murder. During that total eclipse, July 20th, 1963, why then? What made that day the perfect storm?
Well, ironically, she says it was thanks to Vera Donovan, her future employer.
Vera. How?
Vera had chartered the island ferry, the Island Princess, for people to go out on the water and watch the eclipse. And the roof of the local hotel was also packed with viewers.
Ah, so everyone was somewhere else, distracted.
Exactly. The whole island's attention was focused on the sky, especially between about 4:00 p.m. So East Lane, where Dolores and Joe lived, was totally deserted. Dead empty, she says.
The perfect window. And a built-in alibi for everyone else.
Precisely. So she planned it carefully, bought Joe a bottle of scotch, Johnny Walker Red, as a supposed surprise to get him drunk, pliable.
And the final argument was about the money he stole.
Yes, she used that as the trigger. Lied and said she'd gotten the money back, which sent him into a rage.
He chased her.
He chased her, drunk and furious, out towards the back near the old blackberry patch, and then pure chance intervenes, or maybe fate, depending how you look at it.
What happened?
He stumbled onto an old broken-down well cap hidden in the weeds. It cracked under his weight, and he fell in.
Into the well. Just like that.
Just like that. Trapped, screaming. Dolores goes over, looks down, and sees him there, all broken.
Okay. This is the point in the confession that gets really visceral. She doesn't help him.
No. She finishes him. She finds a rock nearby, not one she brought, but one just lying there by the well, picks it up, and drops it on his head.
And the sound. She remembers the sound decades later.
Vividly, it's the detail that seems to haunt her most. That sound like a china plate on a brick hearth. Brittle. Awful.
A sound that would stick with you. And he didn't die right away.
No, that's maybe the most horrific part. He was still alive down there, screaming her name. The well made his voice echo, flat and weird. Dolores, help me, please.
Killing. And she just walked away, left him begging. How did she justify that?
She's very blunt about it in the confession. She couldn't risk him surviving. If they pulled him out alive, even broken, he would eventually tell someone what he'd been doing to Selena.
And that would destroy Selena all over again.
That's what Dolores believed. It would ruin her daughter's life completely, maybe even put her back under his psychological control somehow. So yes, it was self-preservation for Dolores, but she frames it primarily as protecting her daughter. At any cost.
Even the cost of leaving him to die like that. Okay,
Yeah.
So practically speaking, how did she keep this hidden for 30 years on a small island?
She was meticulous. Threw the whiskey bottle down the well after him, made sure her shoes were clean of any incriminating dirt from the well area. Later, she got rid of the ripped pieces of her slip, tossed them in the ocean.
And her alibi,
Yeah.
that she was somewhere else watching the eclipse.
Her alibi was that she went to a place called Russian Meadow to watch it. And it held up because, well, who could contradict her? Everyone else was verifiably on the ferry or the hotel roof. No one saw her.
So the island just accepted it. That Joe St. George, the town drunk, stumbled into a well and died.
Pretty much. It fit the narrative they already had about him. A sad, believable accident for a man like Joe.
Okay, so that horrific chapter closes, and almost immediately her second life begins. Decades of service to Vera Donovan. It sounds like trading one kind of prison for another.
That's a really good way to put it. The irony is thick, isn't it? She escapes Joe, only to end up working for Vera. Initially, Vera was just a very, very demanding, rich summer resident who hired Dolores as a housekeeper.
But that changed.
It did. Vera had a stroke in 1968, then another, more serious one in 1975. After that, Dolores wasn't just cleaning, she became Vera's full-time 247 paid companion. Dolores says she basically had to eat shit around the clock for years and years.
And Vera's demands sound legendary. Obsessive, almost.
Oh, completely obsessive. Vera had this infamous 3 strikes and you're out policy for staff, which is why Dolores was often the only one who lasted.
What kind of rules are we talking about?
Bizarrely specific things, like you could only use Spic and Span cleaner on the bathtubs, no other brand. Sheets had to be hung on the clothesline with precisely 6 clothespins. 6!
6 pins, why?
Who knows? And the welcome mats outside the doors. Vera would check them from her window using her dead husband's binoculars to make sure the word welcome was facing exactly the right way.
Checking mats with binoculars? That's beyond demanding. That's almost performance art cruelty.
It really is. And it got worse as Vera got older and frailer physically. Her mental bitchery, as Dolores calls it, really ramped up.
The Thursday shitstorms.
Ah, yes, the famous Thursday shitstorms. Thursday was the day Dolores changed the bed linens, and if Dolores didn't get the bedpan under Vera at exactly the right millisecond...
Vera would deliberately soil herself.
Deliberately. Make the biggest mess possible. Turning the weekly cleaning into this awful passive-aggressive power play. A nightmare.
Did Dolores ever push back?
She tried. She describes this vacuum cleaner trick, basically using the noise of the vacuum starting up as a signal to rush in with the bedpan before Vera could dump a load. But Vera was sharp, even in decline. She eventually figured out how to make an even bigger mess right before Dolores was about to finally quit.
It sounds like a decades-long battle of wills, just grinding attrition.
Completely. And the end, when it came, sounds like Vera's mind just... shattered. Dolores describes her being consumed by delusions near the end, screaming about dust bunnies, hiding in the corner, seeing wires everywhere. Sometimes she'd scratch her own face in terror.
And her death. Officially, it was a fall down the stairs, right?
Yes, during one of these terrifying episodes, she fell.
But Dolores' role, it's complicated. The coroner's inquest cleared her of wrongful death, but there was suspicion, especially with the inheritance.
There always is, isn't there? But Dolores admits something crucial in her confession. She says that Vera, in that final moment of terror and confusion, pleaded with her, said, "I want to be done."
And Dolores helped her?
She admits she helped her die, helped her be done. After decades of that service, that suffering on both sides, you can almost see how that plea might have felt like a release for both of them.
A mercy, perhaps. But legally, she was cleared. Accident caused by Vera's state.
Correct. The inquest ruled it an accident. But the money, Vera's large estate going mostly to Dolores, kept the whispers going.
And then comes the final, absolutely stunning revelation about Vera, something discovered only after her death by the lawyer, Alan Greenbush.
Yeah, this is the twist that just floors you. It recontextualizes everything about Vera. Dolores had spent years thinking Vera was estranged from her adult children, Donald and Helga. Thought they just never visited due to some old fight.
That wasn't true.
Not even close. The lawyer found out Donald and Helga had been dead for 30 years.
30 years.
Killed in a car crash decades earlier. Vera had spent all that time pretending they were alive.
Wait. She pretended her dead children were alive? For decades. How?
Elaborately. She invented entire lives for them, fictional careers, Dolores mentions, Golden West Associates, Gaylord fashions. She made Dolores keep their bedrooms perfectly ready as if they might arrive any day.
Even stocking food for them.
Quaker rolled oats had to be kept in the pantry for Donald. For 30 years, can you imagine the mental fortitude? The sheer force of will required to maintain that fiction day in, day out? And compelling Dolores to participate in it.
That completely changes how you see Vera's cruelty, doesn't it? The obsessive rules, the demands. Maybe it wasn't just about control. Maybe it was about desperately keeping this fragile, constructed reality intact.
Exactly. Dolores was the only person left who shared that reality with her, even unknowingly. It suggests Vera wasn't just a mean old woman. She was trapped in this profound, decades-long performance of grief management. A deep madness.
Which leads to Dolores' surprising conclusion about Vera.
Right. She says Vera was definitely crazy. Profoundly so. But she also says that maintaining that lie for so long showed incredible courage. It's a moment that almost humanizes Vera despite everything. Dolores recognized the strength it took, even if it was rooted in delusion.
So let's tally the final cost for Dolores Claiborne. She gets the money, walks away rich, inheriting most of Vera's estate, estimated over $10 million. But what was the real price?
Oh, the real price was immense. It was everything the money couldn't fix, those haunting memories, right? The sound of the rock hitting Joe's head, his voice echoing from the well. Those things don't just go away.
And her family. The children she did it all for.
That's the tragedy. Her youngest son, little Pete, the one she worried was becoming like Joe. He was killed in Vietnam. A loss she connects, at least partly, back to the toxic home Joe created.
And Selena, the daughter she killed Joe to protect.
Selena survived, yes, but she's damaged. When Dolores is giving the confession, Selena is 44, unmarried, described as too thin, and Dolores suspects she drinks too much, maybe inheriting her father's vice in a different way.
So the survival demanded ruthlessness, becoming what she called a bitch. But that transformation cost her peace, and maybe even damaged the very people she fought to save.
That seems to be her own conclusion, stark and brutal. Sometimes the world makes you be a bitch, she says, but oh, the price. The terrible price.
She thought she'd dealt with the past, neaten them all away, as she put it. Joe gone, Vera's secrets buried. But the confession itself proves that wrong.
Completely. The past is never really gone, is it? Memory, she realizes at the end, it's like the only ferry that can cross that gap of time. And the faces you buried, the ones you least want to see, they always come back.
Which leaves us, and you, with a final thought to chew on. Dolores told one of the officers interviewing her, Sammy Marchant, something interesting. She said, "A woman who pushes once and gets away with it might push twice." Considering everything, the decades of abuse she took, the murder of Joe, and then that final action with Vera, was helping Vera die purely an act of mercy for a suffering woman? Or was it perhaps the unavoidable final push from a woman who life had forced to become capable of anything to survive, paying that terrible price along the way?